They told me networking was the only way to get a job in Sweden, and they lied. If you have been applying for jobs in Sweden, you've probably heard this 100 times. Networking is how you find a job in Sweden. But here's the truth. I got my first job in Sweden without knowing a single person and without going to endless networking events. The moment I discovered this tactic, everything changed. I went from countless job rejections to receiving interview emails from recruiters and eventually landing a job. In this video, I'm breaking it all down step by step. If you want to find a job quickly, you need to watch this. And stick around until the end, because I'll also reveal 3 costly mistakes that can ruin your chances of getting a job in Sweden as a non-EU immigrant. If you're new here, I'm Eli, a non-EU immigrant who's been living in Sweden for close to a decade. When I first arrived, I went from unemployed, frustrated, and missing home, to building a career, buying a home, and thriving here. Now I share the lessons I've learned so you can adapt, find work, and thrive in Sweden too. Let's get into it. When I first started my Sweden job search, I bought into the networking myth completely. I connected with everyone I could find on LinkedIn, showed up at every event, every conference, basically hoping that someone who knew someone would magically connect me to a job. It didn't work. Here's the truth. Sweden's job market is tough. You're not just competing with Swedes, but also with skilled internationals from across Europe and the rest of the world. And if you think networking alone will land you a job here, you're in for a long wait. You see, my friend, networking has been proven to be one of the slowest ways to find a job. In fact, it's considered as a moderately weak approach to finding a job. In a research by Harvard Business Review, they analyzed data from over 20 million people to see how different types of connections impact job mobility. Their findings? Shocking. The research showed that your strongest ties, namely your connections to immediate coworkers, close friends, and family, were actually the least helpful for finding new opportunities and securing a job. So if networking won't get you there faster, what will? Here's the answer: competence. The secret to finding a job in Sweden is competence, a combination of your hard skills, that's your technical abilities, and soft skills, that's your personal qualities. Once I figured this out, everything changed. I didn't need to know anyone. I just needed my CV to clearly prove that my skills and qualities matched exactly what employers were looking for. I applied this approach, and suddenly I was getting interviews from top Swedish companies I'd never dreamt would notice me, all without a single connection or contact. Why? Because Swedish recruiters hire based on competence. TNG, one of Sweden's leading recruitment agencies, captures this better in their article titled "Competency and Facts" instead of unconscious bias and gut feeling. Here's what they have to say. There are roughly 2 ways of recruiting new employees after a reasonable number of candidates have been selected through screening. Either you go on your gut feeling and keep your fingers crossed for it to be right, or you use knowledge and facts to match the company's needs with the candidate's skills. We firmly believe in the latter option and are proud to recruit with a competency-based recruitment. And that's great news for you, because it means if you have the right competence, you've got a real shot, even if you've just arrived in Sweden and know no one. So then, if competence is the only guaranteed way to land a job in Sweden, how do you actually build it? And more importantly, how do you show it on your CV so employers can't ignore you? To answer that, let's break down the 2 main building blocks of competence: hard skills and soft skills. Let's start with hard skills. Hard skills are your technical, job-specific abilities, the things you can measure, test, and prove. When I first understood this, I looked at my own career. I work in marketing, so my hard skills were things like email marketing, social media strategy, SEO, graphic design, and web development. I didn't just magically have these skills. I picked them up through my bachelor's and master's education, and then built more through years of hands-on experience. Whatever your field is, IT, engineering, healthcare, your hard skills are the tools you bring to the job. Now for soft skills. These are your personality traits and interpersonal abilities, the human side of competence. Things like communication, adaptability, creativity, teamwork. Soft skills are the reason two people with the same technical ability can have completely different career outcomes. Because here in Sweden, companies want to know, will you fit in with our culture? Du måste passa in. So your soft skills are just as important as your hard skills, sometimes even more so. So now the big question, how do you take your hard and soft skills and make them stand out on your CV so you can actually be shortlisted for interviews? Here's how. You don't just write any CV, you create a skills-based CV that mirrors the exact skills and qualities listed in the job ad. Here's how I did it, and how you can too. Use the job ad as your blueprint. In your profile, highlight the most important hard and soft skills they're asking for. In your experience section, link your past achievements to the skills in the ad. In your skills/expertise section, use the same keywords the recruiter uses. It makes it obvious you're the right fit. And one more thing, only apply if you genuinely have the skills the role requires. The last thing you want is to struggle in an interview or, worse, start the job only to be let go after probation because you couldn't put those skills into practice. If you're missing key abilities, especially technical ones, take the time to build them through courses or training programs. When I rebuilt my CV this way, the results were immediate. Interviews started rolling in without me knowing a single person inside those organizations. So you can apply this too, and while at that, avoid these 3 big mistakes if you're applying for a job in Sweden. 1. Never send the same CV to every job ad. Each job ad has its own mix of hard and soft skills. You need to rewrite your CV every single time, for each job. When I started doing this, my rejection emails dropped dramatically. 2. Don't put your picture on your CV as a non-EU immigrant. I mean, your name already gives you away, so why add a picture? There's plenty of research showing that racial discrimination happens during CV screening. Let your skills be the first thing recruiters see, not your face. 3. Clean up your social media. In case you haven't noticed, Sweden is highly digitalized and you're only a quick internet search away. If there's anything online you wouldn't want a future employer to see, remove it now. This is exactly how I went from countless rejections to interview after interview, all without a single networking contact. And if you use this same approach, I believe you can do it too. So there you have it, my friend. Networking might be what everyone talks about, but it's not the shortcut to a job in Sweden. What will get you there is proving your value through your skills, experience, and a CV that truly reflects both. I know how frustrating and lonely the job search can feel when you're far from home, but if I could go from 0 interviews to landing a job here without knowing a single person, you can too. Start today, learn a skill, update that CV, focus on your competence, and avoid those 3 mistakes we talked about. Your next interview could be closer than you think. If this video gave you hope or clarity, hit the like button and subscribe so you're here for my next video. Thanks for watching. And remember, you're closer to your goal than you think. See you in the next one.